Welcome back to Living in Glenview, and thanks so much for joining us. We're so excited to launch episode number 2.
We loved hearing your responses to episode 1. Thank you for that, the engagement, the feedback. It's all really been incredible, and we're glad that you're loving it as much as we are making it. So, as a special thanks, I want to make sure that we say thank you to the Social Loft and the Glenn and Deanna for letting us use this gorgeous space here to record.
Thank you, Deanna. And today we're sitting down with Amy O'Leary, the Executive Director of Youth Services of Glenview and Northbrook. We're going to talk about the organization, how it benefits Glenview, and how you can get involved. But first, the Glenview Buzz.
All right, and speaking of Glenview Buzz, I think maybe the most buzz that we've had so far is about Zenzi Den. It's the new Ballyhoo restaurant that's opening downtown Glenview, and some interesting tidbits that I want to share.
Okay, good, because we've all been anxiously awaiting.
Seriously, everybody keeps coming up to us, when's it going to open, when's it going to open?
I want to know, I want to go.
Well, so we have some clues, first of all, on their social media. So if you pop on to their social media,
right. Instagram,
they're now giving you a look inside. So you can see a look at the dining room, the bar area.
Okay.
It's got a really cool vibe. It's sort of like, if you think about those really intimate kind of eating spaces where you can choose either, to sit up at the bar and watch them prepare, or you can have, more of a standard private table space, which is really great. Ambiance looks really cool. I mean, this is what you can tell from the pictures, right? But very interesting. But also, you can check out the menu now finally and see what...
They have a menu ready to go.
And so here's the thing, everybody. So I was poking around on their social media, and it just happened to pop up, and it said, hey, listen, we're just going to open the kitchen and let you order if you want for takeout. So
what?
Yeah. So I took that screenshot of that. I texted it to my wife, and I said, we're doing this, right?
Immediately.
Okay. So she was a little skeptical, and I'll tell you why. Because, and this is valid, she was a little concerned, like, listen, this is the first day in the kitchen, or do we want to be the guinea pigs here?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, absolutely we do. So we did. So we ordered. Okay. So we ordered in.
Wait, you already had the food? You already ate?
I had the food. This is my surprise. I told you there'd be a surprise. So I've eaten from Zenzi Den. So we ordered, I know. So we ordered a peanut noodle. It was kind of a peanut noodle. I think it had some sausage in it. They have some dumplings.
Okay.
That was the winner, by the way. The dumplings were out of this world. Couple of sushi rolls, and one was the vegetarian version because my daughter is vegetarian, and then I think I had just like the standard spicy tuna just to kind of, because it's like, okay, something I can compare. It was outstanding. It was outstanding.
Wow.
Quality was really, really good. The takeout, even though they're just starting, that was easy. We just kind of walked in, grabbed, went. Everybody's so excited. Like my wife said, they were clapping when she came in to pick everything up.
Fabulous. So you can order not ahead of time and pre-order your dinner from Zenzi Den.
Yeah. So now I want to know when they're actually opening
the restaurant.
Yes. Okay, full disclosure, I have no idea. Zenzi Den, if you guys, Ballyhoo, if you guys are watching this, let us know.
We get some reservations.
Yeah, well, for sure. But also, if you want to tip us off to the opening.
Please. We'd be thrilled.
It sounds like in a few weeks.
Okay.
It sounds like mid-late May, if you kind of read around. I could be completely making that up, so please feel free to give us the inside scoop.
Yes, we'd love it.
But so far, so good. It was really, really good. I will say this, and just to be fair, a little more pricey, maybe than some of the other sushi options that you look at. But the quality was wonderful.
Well, I know where I'm ordering out from tonight.
Yeah.
Mother's Day is right around the corner, and if you're still putting a plan together, Glenview has you covered. Van Mar is an amazing place to find a Mother's Day gift. You could take care of your entire purchase. Wrapping
is big thing.
Free, which is amazing, and shipping if you're shipping to out of state. And I bet you didn't know that Van Mar is actually a family-owned business based out of Davenport, Iowa. But if you want to shop Glenview Local, Country Classics, and Margot Boutique both have beautiful, unique gift options, and they also wrap. And if you're looking for a nice place to dress up for brunch.
I'm looking for a nice brunch, but not necessarily to dress up.
Your wife might want to dress up.
I know.
The Glenview Park District is hosting Mother's Day tea at Kennecott House. And if you want to take mom out for lunch or your wife out to lunch, Glenview has some great options for foodies. Ema and the Glen Club both have wonderful Mother's Day brunches. And you don't need to be a member of the Glen Club to have brunch there.
And we've ordered in from EMA sometimes for big events, which is super easy too. All right, so are you busy on Sunday but looking for something to do Saturday?
Yeah.
Pinstripes offers a Mother's Day all-you-can-eat buffet on both Saturday and Sunday, so it gives you options. And of course, you can't forget, no mom would be disappointed with flowers. Havlax and Morning Glory Florist are both great options there.
And local options.
All right, so moving on to another holiday. Do you need Memorial Day weekend plans? Well, how about this for an idea? The Glenview Park District just launched the Glenview Scramble. It's at 1 p.m. on May 25th at Glenview Park Golf Club. It's a 4-person scramble for all skill levels, which is good because mine varies from round to round. There are prizes for top teams, longest drive, closest to the pin, all that good stuff, and a full awards ceremony afterwards.
And this is an excuse you needed to get everyone in the course before summer kicks off. Glenview is known for so many amazing things. Great schools, beautiful neighborhoods, and a strong sense of community. But there's one organization that you might not know about. That is until today. We are thrilled to be joined by Amy O'Leary, the Executive Director of the Youth Services of Glenview and Northbrook, to give you an inside look. We're so excited to have you. Please tell us about Youth Services, the programs you offer for those people that just don't know.
Yes, so thank you for having me. Youth Services is a 501c3 mental health organization. We serve a variety of children ages 3 to 21 who live in the northern suburbs of Chicago. A huge piece of what we do is individual and group mental health therapy. And then we also provide after-school youth development programs. We do crisis response, and then we do community education as well.
One of the things that I find fascinating about living in this community is that there are so many resources out there. And I think for me as a parent, a lot of times the biggest challenge is understanding what our options are, what is available to you. Tell me a little bit about awareness and how you guys are working, to make sure that families that might be benefited by, the opportunities that Youth Services provides know that that's out there for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Youth Services, I think, we are not an agency that's trying to be everything to everyone because we know that there's a lot of great organizations and service providers in the community. So we want to specialize in what we do well, which is kids and mental health, and refer out when the need falls outside of our core competencies, so to speak, which is why developing partnerships and collaborative relationships with other service providers is so important. And to answer your question, I think the majority of the time when people come to us, they get our name from the local schools. Yeah. So we have worked really hard to build partnerships with District 34 and 225 with, a variety of different school social workers, counselors, et cetera. And oftentimes when parents call us, they get our name from the local school as well.
That's wonderful.
So walk us through some of the, the main services that you offer and some of the reasons why schools would refer, families out to you.
Yeah. So schools often refer to us for our individual and group counseling program. I think one of the things that makes Youth Services unique is our accessible care model. So we offer the lowest sliding scale in the northern suburbs of Chicago. It goes as low as $1 per session. We like clients to pay something because it places value and there's more of a buy-in on the service that we provide. So I think that's one of the things that makes us unique. I think additionally, people refer to us because of our treatment model. We love to use activities to connect with kids therapeutically. Our building was really constructed to incorporate that treatment model.
They've just redone it and it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, thank you. We're extremely fortunate. So we have a gym, an art therapy space, play therapy space, music room. So we just find, especially when working with kids, by utilizing activities, it helps put kids at ease. We can develop a rapport over time and start having those clinically relevant conversations.
So how are you funded then?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Great question. A variety of different sources. Fundraising is a huge piece of what we do. We just had our largest fundraising event this past weekend, our spring gala. And then we have a handful of other events throughout the year. We're extremely fortunate. We are supported by local government, Northfield Township, Village of Glenview, Village of Northbrook. We receive individual donations, corporate support.
But it's not government funded. It's just local.
We don't receive any state funding or federal funding. I think where we struggle from a fundraising standpoint is when people see where we're located, there's an assumption that there's no need in a community like Glenview, and what we know is that's definitely not the case.
Right. Absolutely.
I'd like to circle back just for a second to, the getting the kids to feel like, it almost feels like it's an after-school program in a sense. You're talking about the gym and all these. So, as a parent, it's sometimes hard to get your kids to participate in lots of things, especially when it's something, that might be, therapeutic or so. How has that been developed over time? Because it really feels like it's an opportunity to make kids feel comfortable in an environment that maybe otherwise it might be a little bit more difficult to get them acclimated to.
100%. Our facility is not, you walk in, it is not it doesn't translate into like a medical setting.
It's not sterile at all.
Not at all. So it really was designed and built to feel more like a home. So I think the second kids walk through our door, they immediately feel at ease. But I think our clinicians do a great job of starting where the client is at. And if a kid is not ready for services, we will work with the family until they feel more comfortable receiving more intensive one-on-one clinical support.
Can you talk a little bit about the actual programs themselves? I know with Study Buddies, yes. 2 of my older kids participated and helped with reading and whatnot. And then also talk about the summer programming, since we're coming up on summer here in about a month.
Yeah, so youth services is open 12 months a year. We're just as busy over the summer as we are during the school year. We provide a variety of therapeutic summer programs. We also have a very large Pride program, so we serve countless LGBTQ+ youth across the suburbs of Chicago. In terms of like our Study Buddies program, that is an amazing volunteer opportunity. We have adult and teenage volunteer tutors, and we pair them with Study Buddies participants anywhere from elementary through junior high school. And the really neat thing about that program is the same tutor is paired to the same student throughout the course of the semester.
Wonderful.
So it really lends itself to more of a mentoring type program, Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. So it's by far one of our most popular after-school programs.
I'm sure there's a wide spectrum of situations where families might find, a lot of value in the services. Can you just kind of walk us through some of maybe the more common or different, specific reasons why a parent or a family would find these services so beneficial?
Yeah, I think, another piece of our after-school program is we provide therapeutic groups to 5 specific neighborhoods in Glenview, Northbrook, and Northfield that house many under-resourced families who wouldn't have the means otherwise to participate in, other after-school programs. So in total, we probably reach about 250 to 300 kids just in those specific neighborhoods. And I think, more from a clinical standpoint, I think you just have parents who have kids who are struggling, whether it's depression, anxiety, maybe academic stress, peer pressure. Social media is huge, obviously. And they just need additional support in helping their kid improve in whatever way that may be.
And it's not necessarily just underserved, is that right? I mean, not just underserved neighborhoods, right? I think that could be a misconception a little bit.
That is 100% a misconception. I think, we see a very diverse clientele. So yes, we absolutely pride ourselves on being accessible and available to those families who don't have the means to go otherwise. On the flip side of the coin, we're paneled with multiple insurance companies. We see clients who are paneled, have Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO coverage. So the more people that we can see who do have health insurance actually enables us to reach more who don't.
Yeah. Yes, that makes sense. Absolutely. And what are the ages of like up to 18 and then you?
We do see some young adults up to about 21. There's always exceptions to that. And then we also do a lot of parent work as well. When working with kids, it's important to treat the entire family system. And part of that is bringing parents into a therapy session when needed and when appropriate.
I think it's so important, for parents, like we have to understand sometimes that it's okay to say, hey, I need some help with this.
Yep.
I need some help in this situation for my child. And we all want to just be superheroes, right? And fix everything all the time. But that's just sometimes not, the way it works. So how do you talk to parents about, making sure that they understand that it's okay,
Yeah, we always, try to tell parents, you know your kid better than anybody, and when in doubt, reach out. So give our intake department a call, talk through what's happening, and then based on our assessment, we can say, yeah, we feel like we could help you and your family and your child. If not, you're always welcome to call back as well. But when in doubt, reach out.
So I didn't realize you had that call center, I guess it is, right? What are the hours for that, or how does someone get in touch with the call center?
So we're not a hotline, so we're not available 24 hours a day.
Got it.
That being said, if there's a crisis in the community, we will respond. So for instance, like the Highland Park July 4th shooting, we responded that weekend by helping staff a drop-in center. But for more just ongoing clinical support, like individual or group therapy, or you're just wanting to have a conversation about what you're seeing at home, those hours are basically 9 to 5. Our intake department is probably it's a small but mighty team of 2. They are the busiest by far of any of us at the agency. And we'll get back to you right away and assess, what's going on, and then, provide referrals. If we're not the appropriate fit, if we are, great, we'll get you in to receive support.
Well, so that's good to know, because I don't think maybe people didn't realize that you do have referral sources for various situations and circumstances for families.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could be a great resource if you're not able to provide the services they need. Is that right?
100%. And I think that is a benefit of coming to a social service or non-for-profit, is because we're so embedded in the community. We have built really great relationships with other providers who offer complementary services. So if we are not the right fit for you, we will connect you to who that appropriate person is in the community.
What about for people who want to get involved from a standpoint of helping, right?
Volunteering.
Volunteering. What opportunities are there for people?
Yeah, so we have no shortage of volunteer opportunities. We own our facility, which is wonderful, but it requires a lot of upkeep. So we'll have individuals and corporate groups come out in the summer months and plant flowers, do landscaping. Study Buddies is a great volunteer opportunity. That's a little bit more of a commitment. We have weekly volunteers who will come in and answer phones when our receptionist is at lunch. We also have a board of directors, obviously, which is very important as a non-for-profit. And then we also have a women's auxiliary board, Friends of Youth Services, who's always looking for new members as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited because for the 3rd year in a row now, I am the MC and sponsor of the fashion show that's in conjunction with the Women's Auxiliary Board. And that's going to be happening mid to end of June. There's still tickets available. It's at Loyola, where we partner with a Margot Boutique and a local high school students, design students. I mean, some of their designs are truly incredible. And we have a fashion show. So we hope that if there are people that are interested in that they reach out or buy tickets and join us for that fashion show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's on June 18th, I believe.
That's right.
And there's more details. You can buy tickets on our website at ysg.org.
It's a super fun event. So Glenview and the North Shore, Northbrook, the school systems here are highly competitive, high achieving environments, and sometimes that can put a lot of stress on kids and families. Can you kind of discuss on how youth services might be able to help in certain circumstances like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the issues that we treat, so to speak. We will get referrals, especially for high school kids who are really stressed out with the college application process that over the years has just become more and more stressful, which, in the most serious of cases could result in an anxiety disorder or depression, et cetera. So that is a piece of what we treat. I think generally speaking, no, it's just a much more complicated world to navigate today as a kid, as it was even 5 years ago. COVID did a number on kids as well. We saw a lot of kids coming back from COVID and struggling socially. So thankfully, we have an adventures program that focuses on building social skills for kids at all age levels, which is great. So yeah, we definitely just try to meet clients with where they are at, whether it's an actual diagnosis or they're just needing to talk about, a certain stressor, such as academic pressure. Yeah.
And tell me more about the Study Buddies program, because anything that gets kids to study, if they're watching, is a good thing. So how does that work? And is it, do you see, kids who maybe in other circumstances it might be a challenge to get them focused in that way, that it's helpful, for that.
Especially having another kid, so to speak, someone that they can look up to and see as aspirational as opposed to an adult.
Absolutely. I think, just as, carving out time at night to do homework for a kid, equally as important is having the opportunity to build a positive relationship with an older student, high school student, or adult in the community. Unfortunately, there's a lot of children that we treat who are lacking that positive role model in their life. So Study Buddies is a program that definitely speaks to that. That is a program that is completely free of charge. It's also another volunteer opportunity for groups who are looking to, give back. We start with 30 minutes of dinner. So we'll have different church groups, service groups, organizations come out and provide dinner as well. So that's a great opportunity to see one of our most popular programs in action.
So Amy, what do you think is the biggest misconception in the community about youth services?
Yeah, I think there's a few. I think first and foremost, the misconception that we struggle with, especially from a fundraising standpoint, right, is that there's no need in the northern suburbs of Chicago. What we see on a daily basis, that's just definitely not the case. We see a lot of families moving from the city of Chicago for the reputable school districts, and they move to specific communities that we target with our after-school programs, but then they struggle to assimilate into a predominantly white community. At the same time, we're seeing at youth services, we see a very large Latino population. We see a growing Mongolian population. But in addition to that, we also know that, mental illness does not discriminate, right? So we also see kids who one could say have all the resources available to them, but for whatever reason, they cannot get out of bed and go to school in the morning because they're struggling with major depression. So I would say probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that Glenview in particular is not a diverse community. That could not be the farthest thing from the truth.
Absolutely. And just speaking personally, I had one of my kids that struggled and still does struggle sometimes with socialization, and she benefited from youth services and would come and, it was an amazing experience for her as well. So I think it helps people of all socioeconomic levels. And of course, a majority, or would you say a majority of it is underserved, or is it 50-50? Or
I would say it's probably 50-50.
Okay. So, yeah, that's great.
Do you find that there's a general case in the community where people feel like there is still a stigma, even just talking about mental health, or is that getting better?
Are we over that now?
Yeah. I don't know if we're necessarily over it. I think the stigma has absolutely lessened. I think in some ways COVID helps with that, where, it might have taken a global pandemic for people to acknowledge or admit, hey, it's
this is real.
It can be tough out there. It's, it's real. But I also think awareness of our services is increasing as well. So as a result of that, the demand for our mental health counseling services has increased exponentially.
Yeah. And everyone is worried about social media, the phones, and how plugged in our kids are and how that's affecting them. And I know that that's been the source of a lot of anxiety and mental health issues with a lot of my friends' kids that are younger, honestly, because we're seeing that these kids younger and younger now are plugging into social media, and it's just destroying their self-esteem.
Yeah, I think that's, there's positives with social media, but obviously there's definitely drawbacks. And I think when a kid is on it too often, right, so there's not appropriate parameters or boundaries in place, that can become definitely a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So you have kids comparing themselves to others on social media. I think there's a perception with kids that they have to be plugged in all the time, which can be difficult. So yeah, there's no shortage of drawbacks when it comes to social media.
And sometimes with the social media and the groups, they feel that they are part of a friend group or community group, but that's not tangible. And sometimes these people aren't even in this country, which is fine to a certain extent, but you still need to have socialization in person and in your community and in your school.
100%. And I think that speaks to the social skill component, because then you see a lot of kids struggling when they do interact with a fellow peer or adult face to face. Then you see some of that social anxiety appear as well.
Are you starting to see AI become an issue that people are dealing with, especially when it comes to schools and things like that? Is that something that is, people are coming in and you're having to address at this point?
I feel like that is a budding issue.
Yeah, right.
So again, something like AI that can have some benefits as well when used appropriately. But I'm sure from an academic standpoint, especially, that has its implications.
Well, I wonder, from it kind of fits in with the social media component, because you see people using AI almost as with having friend relationships and talking, and I just wonder down the line.
Or therapists. I don't know if kids are doing that yet, but I know some adults are.
Yeah, there's just so many. Not to pile on with more things that to deal with, but it just feels like you're right. It's like a slippery slope where it may be something that is creating more issues as we move forward.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we try to do at Youth Services, especially with our social skills groups and some of our other process groups, is we want them to be experiential as well. So that might look like going to, on a field trip and having kids interact with others out in the community. So bringing back that experiential component that I think oftentimes is lacking because of the social media use.
Is there, if you had one message that you wanted to get out to, the greater Glenview community, is there anything in particular that you'd say, hey, we want you to know this?
Yeah, I would say, I've obviously worked in other communities prior to coming to Youth Services, but I would say hands down, Glenview and Northbrook, it is such a tight-knit community between the local chambers, the park districts, the township, village government. There is no shortage of providers out there. And again, when in doubt, reach out if you're needing help. And equally, if you're looking to get more involved and give back, just give us a call.
Right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out today to enlighten all of us and give us all some real great and detailed information on Youth Services, how it benefits our community, but also how people can then volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We welcome any opportunity to raise awareness of what we do. And also thank you for being such a wonderful supporter of our organization as well.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us for episode number 2. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who loves this community as much as we do.
And one thing you want to make sure that you do is that you subscribe so that you never miss an episode, and we will see you in the next one.